It's always fascinating to me, all of the leadership principles that can be attached to sailing. Sometimes it's the smallest efforts in adjusting the sail or the rudder, and you go from quite sedentary to all of a sudden significant speed increases and effectiveness of use of the wind. Analogy is just cannot be beat. Just love this feeling of harnessing the wind to move. And our principle today is all about the neuroscience of leadership. Number 12 in our series of unleashing the unbelievably talented leader within you. My name's Tim Schmidt. I'm the founder of Dry Dock Consulting, and here I got my helmsman certificate in the South China Sea when I was 11 years old, and here I am in Minnesota sailing. And I'm eager to introduce you to this concept of neuroscience and how the brain works in terms of leading others. And so when I'm in not such a dangerous and chaotic situation with this camera, I am going to share with you this incredibly helpful idea of how the brain works and how it lights up when you begin talking about the future. And it lights up when we encourage self-discovery. But on the contrary, with poor leadership and poor coaching, it does the opposite. And so I will get into a much calmer situation and bring you up to speed on exactly what this all means. Thanks for joining us on number 11 on unleashing the elite leader within you, because it is within you. It's a simple, small change, just like this rudder or just like these sails. Hey everybody, now I'm back in the office, out of the sailboat and into a calm environment. I mean, it was a little hectic to try to tiller the sailboat, hold the main sheet, which is actually the rope that connects to the boom, that connects to the main sail. And as the wind picks up, you want to be able to loosen it so you don't capsize, and hold a brand new iPhone. Happy to be back, happy to catch a few segments for you. But our topic today is number 12. I think I actually said number 11 on the last segment, but the number 12 idea of how to create the elite leader within you, to unleash the elite leader. So we're on number 12. And what I find interesting is the reason I wanted to capture some of the sailing was to make the point about the slightest little change on the tiller or on the main sheet to pull in the boom so you release less wind can have a dramatic effect on the result of your sailing speed and even the risk. And so what I want to introduce to you today is number 12, the neuroscience of leadership principle. The neuroscience of leadership. What you may not know, there's this interesting medical technology now called a functional MRI. It's a small f MRI. You're familiar with an MRI because you've probably been in one where they study your body through multiple dimensions. But this functional MRI now is a fascinating tool where they study the movement inside your brain while introducing it to certain images. So it's functional. It's seeing the brain function based on the images that it shows you. And so the images might be something like a beautiful picture of your family, right? A sunset, a overflowing toilet, right? A murder scene on television, right? All of these things, they're exposing to your eyesight while the brain is being studied. And they can see now where the adrenaline goes. They can see now where the blood flow goes to what parts of the brain. And all of a sudden now, we're able to come to some conclusions and even connect it to how we're leading people by understanding the neuroscience of leadership. Here's the bottom line for today. Insight creates behavior change. Aha moments create behavior change. And I'm going to get very specific with you with how I've taken this research and converted it to a 2x2 matrix to help you understand how should we be coaching our direct reports so that we're taking advantage of exactly how the brain works to create insight and self-discovery so that we make them be their best self and they can see it reflected in our eyes. Check this out. So here's the model that I put together after reading this research on the neuroscience of leadership. Again, think of it like sailing. Small shifts, big wins. So based on what I'm going to show you now, think about how you could coach your direct reports differently. What they learned from this research was two different angles that you can see here on the screen, two different continuums. And what they found was the brain lit up in two different ways. And the first way is when I give advice, the subject that I'm talking to is just not all that interested. But when I develop self-insight, when I help my direct reports discover their own solutions to the problem, the brain lit up. The second continuum you see on the x-axis talks about when I focus back on the problem, or I just only focus on history and saying, this is where you're not performing and I'm unhappy with this result, versus when we can talk about solutions, forward-looking, new behaviors, the brain lit up. So you can see the beauty of a 2x2 matrix, because what we have here is if I tell people what they should do and only focus on the problem, I am completely depressing them, right? And their reaction, unbeknownst to me, is that I'm depressing them. We're focusing on the back, history, the problem, and I'm telling what they should do. Well, now think if I do it right in one of the two areas. If I do help develop self-insight, but only focus on the problem, what do they say? Frustrate me. Hey, what else could you do to solve a problem that you're no good at, right? All right, let's keep moving. So what if I'm good at looking at future behaviors, but I just give them the advice? Well, now they feel bossed, right? Yeah, let's talk about some new behaviors. Here are the 9 things I think you should do. The brain shuts down. But when we combine solutions orientation with new behaviors, combined with self-insight, we will make big wins from small shifts in how we coach. And what we end up with is inspire me. We're now helping them self-discover new behaviors, new ways that we can help them be their best self and see it sparkle in our eyes. That's it. That's it. Number 12, the neuroscience of leadership to unleash the elite leader within you. This is, it is inside of you right now. You can do this. And this sailboat here in my office is a constant reminder. Small shifts, big wins in your coaching. Your call to action in your next one-on-one or next mid-year review is all about seeking self-discovery that they can self-discover rather than you giving them all the answers. And secondly, to talk about the future and new behaviors. It doesn't mean you don't talk about the past. You do review the last quarter's performance, but that maybe 20% of your time. The brain lights up when they're self-discovering, aha, insight combined with future. And I will see you at the top as we unleash the leader within you. I'm proud of you. Take care.